Okay, looks like we're live on a fine Thursday. Maybe it's dark behind me now, a little bit of light. Getting to that stage of the year where it's much darker when I start. It's not full dark yet, sun has gone down. But yes, time marches inexorably on. Hey Luke, how you doing? YouTube tells me there was a couple of people ready and waiting for the start, which is always nice to see. Get off to a flying start. Yes, so ready for hopefully another fun and varied night. So much going on in the world. We always have a variety of things to talk about. Hello, Miss Foxification and Mystery 09. Nice to see you. And trying to work something out here. This is not the biggest deal in the world. But yeah, the window for the Google Hangout, because that's the default thing on YouTube to live stream, is to use a Google Hangout, and it used to just tell me on that window how many people were watching, and I don't know, inexplicably that went away, and I can't see any control to make it come back. Very strange, very strange. I mean, YouTube shows me, but that's not the window I usually look at, because well, it's distracting, because it's about a 10-second lag between when I say something and I'd see it on the YouTube screen, and that's quite, not that I need to see myself, but it's just distracting to see myself in the past. So I prefer to have the Google Hangout window open. Marcy, hi there. Oh, good. Glad I'm keeping you company at work. And hello, Charlie. As well, I like the diversity. Get people in the same time zone as me, and people in very different time zones. Sometimes people are working night shift. Sometimes people who are at least somewhat insomniac. So welcome, one and all, wherever you are, whatever your motivation. Yes, it's a non-stop action world. One more day of work, and then a long weekend, public holiday on Monday. Hey, big boy, how's it going? CrossFitter, Tim Apple, did you not see that? Trump was at some public thing with Tim Cook, the head of Apple, and he called him Tim Apple, which honestly a lot of people are making a big deal about it. And it's like, for fuck's sake, who doesn't make slips occasionally? I mean, sure, yes, Trump clearly has an undiagnosed degenerative cognitive illness. It's very obvious that he's suffering from something. But yes, I do feel like some people made too big a deal about this when there's a million other things to be on Trump's case about. Hey, Tendo, how's it going? No, look, it's for variety. It's like a fruit punch. I mixed some juices and lemonade. It's like a tropical fruit punch. I've got a little wedge of lime in there because I'm a sophisticated motherfucker. Yeah, that's me, sophisticated motherfucker. Sophisticated AF up in his house. So yeah, but I guess it's something a bit different, basically, to keep my throat lubricated, as it were. I don't know. I think I do need to have something to drink when I'm talking constantly for a couple of hours, or my throat will get dry. But I also think it is somewhat, it's a prop, like a distraction for me, because I am quite a fidgeter. Oops, someone wants to come into the kitchen. You can come into the kitchen. You see on that side, no one will see you. No, I don't. Are you worried? I know you'll be seen in reflection. I know. It's a tough old world. Miss Foxification, I did leave that door wide open for the double entendre about throat lubrication. That was quite deliberate. So yes, there is that. But yeah, I'm quite a fidgeter. Like at work, particularly in meetings and whatnot. If I'm not actively taking notes, I'll doodle. Like my notebooks at work are full of weird squiggles and doodles, and just because I really am quite a fidgeter. It's weird. I've been seeing a lot of posts recently on social media about ADHD, and in particular late diagnose ADHD, like someone getting well into adulthood before they get a proper diagnosis of ADHD. And I am, as the kids say, feeling a bit called out by it, because when people start describing the symptoms about being easily distracted and not finishing things and going, those things are all me. So it's a bit funny because I know people with ADHD, and I know I don't have ADHD. It's just sort of, it's like this, Jesse, because American TV, they advertise prescription medicine, and they do it in the vaguest way. Do you have trouble sleeping? Dry throat sometimes? Maybe you're dying of this hideous disease. Get this drug from your doctor. It'll fix you right up. When people, there is a thing that people generally are susceptible to, is when you hear a disease described, you can start to see those symptoms in yourself, even if you don't actually have them. And that's why they advertise like that. They advertise for these vague symptoms that it's just like anyone could have them, and they put the idea in your head, and then you get it. Yes, that's the running joke. Dr. Google tells you you've got cancer. I bought a book a while back. I did show it on a live stream a while back. Not 100% sure where it is at the moment, but it's called Worst Case Scenarios, The Pessimist's Guide to What's Wrong with You. And it starts with, like anything, like a sore throat. And then it tells you the number of fatal diseases that have sore throat as an early symptom. It's like, oh, aching in my joints. Yeah, that's leukemia. It's just like, oh my God. And the book's meant to be a joke, but clearly some people are incredibly susceptible to that sort of thinking. But yes. Oh, yes, Charlie, you always saying your boyfriend was diagnosed with ADHD at 35. Yes, the med is basically speed, which sounds really counterintuitive. But like, there was the brand name Adderall. It is basically amphetamines. You think, but you're already really twitchy. Surely speed is going to make it worse. But it's some weird counterintuitive thing that it can actually help you focus. Which is wild. Hey, like, okay, a friend of mine, YouTube friend, Corey Williams, Mr. Safety, SMP Films, who's a family vlogger these days. He's married and now has 2 kids. I visited him a couple times in the last decade. He's visited here a couple times. I worked with him on videos, and he has ADHD, and he's at various times been on medication and not on medication. I think he got to the stage where he prefers the medication. There were periods where he thought the medication was having a bad effect on him and he didn't want to take it. But I think he ended up in the place where, like, he got the right dosage or whatever, and he felt like it was a positive and it helped him. And he, like, I worked with him, and I think when he wasn't on any medication for his ADHD, but we do a video, he would get hyper focused. Like, the cliche about people with ADHD is they can't focus on anything, and that's common, but it's not the only effect, and it's not always how it affects people. Corey would get hyper focused, and I mean, he would spend 6 to 12 hours editing a video and obsessing about the tiniest detail of the edit, and he would just be hyper focused for an extended period and just not let the smallest thing, and that'd be the ADHD kicking in, going, I don't like that edit, I don't like that sound, I'm cutting that, I'm cutting that, I'm cutting out, I'm cutting it. But he'd get hyper focused and spend hours editing a video, way more focused on video editing than I've ever been able to be. But yeah, it was quite interesting working with him because he was quite a perfectionist, and he could just laser focus on the editing in an incredible way. Crossy, you're dyslexic and you like jokes about it. Yeah, I've seen a couple of funny dyslexia jokes about dyslexics at a rally and the signs they have, which of course have slight spelling errors, letter juxtapositions that change the meaning of the words on their banners. I've seen some good ones along that line. Like, instead of dyslexics unites and your dyslexics untie. Luke, what happened to VB? VB Ed? I'm not 100% sure who you're talking about, Luke. But yes, it can be quite hard to keep track of people. I have to say, I'm quite fond of my fruit punch. It tastes really good. VD, if you meant VD, last I heard, he was still in prison. But that whole crowd haven't been on as much. So I don't know what happened there. I suspect there was one person running several accounts, actually. So I always reserved judgment. Until people give me a reason not to, I tend to accept them on face value. I accept what people tell me on face value, unless they give me a reason not to, like act like shit. Unless they're a really obvious troll. I mean, the one I always jokingly refer to, but has for real happened to me multiple times, and this is across different social media, on YouTube, like on my video comments and on live streams, on Twitter and on Facebook. Someone with a basically anonymous account, either a completely anonymous account, like no identifying information going with the account at all, or an obviously fake account, like it's new and the motivations, shall we say, are quite obvious. And the one that I joke about, but I've for real had it multiple times, is when you're talking about, the problems of the world, problems with bigotry and whatnot, and saying something along the lines of, well, speaking as a black woman, in the world today, the real oppressed minority is straight white men. They can't do anything. And I was like, yes, you are definitely a black woman. You're a black woman who's definitely black, and it's completely legitimate that someone in that position says the true oppressed minority is straight white men. They're the only ones who have anything difficult happen to them ever in the world. And it's just like, it is so obvious the person is lying. It's so obvious they're a troll that it's just like, really? You honestly expect me to believe that? Like, do you think I just joined the internet today? Usually, Aviator, hello to you. Been out having a haircut. Nice. I might get one soon. I don't, you see, my hair's still relatively short, but I don't like it getting very long. Probably get a haircut in the next week or something. Yeah, Mr. 09, it's always an alt-right troll. So misfoxification. Oh, yeah. That's the thing, misfoxification. When they just pushing a particular narrative, the really unimaginative ones will do what I just said. They'll do the, well, speaking as a black woman who's definitely black, even though there's nothing to identify me, I'm honestly, for real, a black woman, and I think straight white men are the really oppressed minority. The not bright ones do that. But I had one on Twitter the other day, and I said something about, I think it was about a particular conservative politician being a shithead, and they came back with this really full-on response, like saying, yeah, right on, man, fuck them all, kill all the Republicans, white people need to die. And I went, okay, it's a bit full on. And then I looked at their profile, and this is all they'd been tweeting. Whenever anyone had done, like, vaguely left-wing progressive tweet, they jumped in with, you're absolutely right, and then amplified it by 1,000 and said something really extreme. And I just said to them, oh, for fuck's sake, you're so obvious. Because obviously, again, a right-wing troll, and they're trying to get, a normal human to agree with an incredibly extreme statement. And so, they're going to screenshot, oh, so much for the tolerant left. Look at them endorsing mass murder. And it was like, it was so obvious. And it's just like, oh, fuck off. Honestly, like I was born yesterday. Well, misfoxification, that was one that happened in a live stream ages ago now. The African crime gang. They didn't say my mother's sister's cousin. There was, and it turned out to be that cockhead who's obsessed with me, saying, he's little Timmy Johnson, and he goes, oh, my family home got invaded by African gangs. And I said, look, obviously violence happens, crime happens, and being on the receiving end of it is fucking awful, and understand you being upset by that. It doesn't change the fact that this narrative about African gangs running rampant, Melbourne people scared, that's simply not true. Individual crimes are awful, and the people perpetrating them need to be prosecuted, but the fact that crime exists doesn't mean, yeah, Charlie, you're saying he got stabbed. And it got to the point where it was obvious this person was lying. And I really got the shits at them. And I think I did say something along the lines of, your whole fucking family deserved to be stabbed. Because, I mean, it was so blindingly obvious that he was lying. And I was like, oh, dude, you know, it's just like, fuck off. And yeah, it did turn out to be the dickhead who's obsessed with me. And he took these selective grabs. And I never actually know if his fuckwit drooling mob of fanboys actually believe that shit, or they just use it as an excuse to really aggressively attack people. Like, you know, whenever they mob someone, they go, oh, you're right. I can never tell if they believe the stupid shit they're saying or they're just using an excuse. Like, they're saying stuff they know isn't true just to excuse doing a mob attack on someone. But, you know, in short, they're fuckwits. By the way, I don't think I said hello, Timothy Hatton and Timothy Possible and YouTube. Hello. YouTube, you joke, but that is literally what Peter Dutton said. It was a blatant lie. He knows he's lying. That's the other thing that bugs the shit out of me, particularly when politicians do it, people who are meant to be leaders, and the media does it. It isn't just that they're spreading lies. They know they're lying. Peter Dutton deliberately concocted an absurd lie, a lie that's incredibly easy to prove is a lie. He said, people in Melbourne are scared to go out. No one goes out at night in Melbourne because they're terrified of African gangs. It's simply not true. And as he says it, he knows he's lying. He decided to deliberately concoct an absolutely absurd lie that was to pander to racists, to inflame racism and cause division. Like, he's an utterly disgusting, vile piece of shit. And I so hope he loses his seat at the federal election. He's one of the ones I'm going to celebrate for. Like, it'll be a lot of fun on election night, seeing which members of the government lose their seats. And Dutton is absolutely right at the top of my list of people I want to see lose their seat. Fuck that guy. He's fucking scum. Oh, yes, Timothy, Milo Yiannopoulos is banned from Australia. As I think now they're waking up that these, I don't know what you want to call them, agitators, these people are actually dangerous and whipping up dangerous sentiment. People like Milo Yiannopoulos and Stephen Yaxley Lennon, who for some reason likes to call himself Tommy Robinson, and a couple of the American ones who've been denied visas. Gavin McInnes, who founded the super fucking right-wing thug gang, the Proud Boys. More and more of them are being denied entry visas to Australia, which is good. It is correct, Marcy. The vast majority of crime is intra-racial, although interracial crime gets all the media coverage and political coverage. The overwhelming majority of crime is intra-racial. Yes, Mr. Voxification, the Australian government are woke. We're talking about the different gangs. Catholic pedo gangs, aka the priesthood. Public transport ticker inspector gangs, man, they're thugs. Oh God, Comrade Lazo, I have heard that that's the MRA's latest obsession is saying feminism caused the fall of Rome, which is just fucking cretinous. It's absolutely brain-bendingly stupid. So Do the Libs want to move Dutton to a safe seat? That is not something I had heard. I also think it isn't possible before the next election. I'm not 100% sure of how the rules work, but I think that wouldn't be possible. And I haven't even heard it as a rumor, actually. Yes, Jimmy, we should ban Trump and family as core character. Yeah, misconception. Once he gets a criminal record, he'll fail the character test for his criminal record, and you can keep him out then. Oh man, that whole thing is so fucking strange. I mean, I don't know. It's like the world's just gone to hell. Like the whole Trump presidency is just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And hello, David and MGTOW services. Was it? People are still talking about Catherine Ann Knight of Aberdeen. She's a woman saying women are violent. Did she kill someone? There are obviously violent women. It things. She was a cannibal killer. Killed her boyfriend, made him into stew. Okay, yeah, that's pretty full on. There seems to be some significant mental health issues at play there. YouTube. Will I be watching the Neverland doco? No, I don't think so. Look, I'd always been of the opinion that Jacko was guilty as fuck. I mean, that whole thing with having kids around all the time. I mean, come the fuck on. What the fuck? But yeah, what was interesting is I had always assumed he was guilty. But I did read one article, like an incredibly impassioned defense of Jacko and an attack on the Leaving Neverland doco. And you know, it was interesting because they made a really compelling case. And to me, that was a really interesting thing to see because it's like, wow, that feels like it's swaying me. And then you read stuff from a bunch of other people like, no, they're telling the truth and the Neverland thing, and they spew things. But it's like, if you can speak in a compelling voice, either literally as an orator or figuratively, as in you write really well, you can really fucking plant doubt in people's minds and sway their minds. And yet, one of the big things this defender of Jacko said is he, of course, faced criminal charges. He was taken to court and he was found not guilty. And one of this person's arguments was there was like an enormous amount of scrutiny from the police, from the court, and he was found not guilty. But so who knows? YouTube, fold laundry. It's a thing we all have to do. I usually do it on weekends. Oh, Timothy, pardons. A compelling case for the carnival. I mean, I don't know. There have been, apparently legal people saying that Pell's appeal stands a reasonable to good chance of succeeding. I don't know. But he's garbage. I mean, the Royal Commission into Child Abuse showed what fucking garbage Pell is. And the people who aggressively defend him are fucking garbage too. David, you're absolutely right. MJ was very talented, and it's disturbing how much people can excuse behavior from great people, you know, whether it's artists or politicians or Catholic cardinals. It's like, no, they're above that sort of thing. They couldn't have done it. It's a very disturbing tendency in humans to bow down to, well, let's say authority figures. It's really weird. So for the double jeopardy rule in the US means you can't be tried for the same crime twice. Like if you are found not guilty, they can't decide later, wait, I got some more evidence, I'm going to try you again. But, well, okay, Jackson's not on trial, although one of the main witnesses in the Neverland documentary is filing civil suit against his estate, which a lot of people say, well, that's his real motivation. Because that guy in another court case did say, I definitely wasn't molested by Jackson. But then you talk to people who work in the field, and there is a whole bunch of reasons someone who was assaulted, molested, raped will say they weren't. There are a whole string of reasons they will say they weren't. So I don't know, man. Oh, R. Kelly, Jesus, R. Kelly. Fuck it. How the fuck did he get away with that shit for so long? I'll lay bets now. R. Kelly is going down for a long time. It's long overdue, probably at least 10 years overdue. But I will lay bets that R. Kelly is going down. And it's true, Miss Foxification, memory is really unreliable. Although a lot of the people who pioneered the whole false memory, implanted memory, their work's been totally discredited. But human memory is incredibly fallible, and there's a lot of things that can make it unreliable. But yeah, see, Leslie, I'm with you. There's separate the art and the artist. I think there's a couple of things in there. I think there's a difference between looking at the art created by someone who's dead, because they're not profiting anymore. But that's a big thing for me. I don't think someone who's an abuser should be allowed to continue to profit from celebrity. I think, fuck that. No, if you know they're doing it now, or, you know, they're guilty of it, I don't think they should get a free run. And not just celebrities, I mean Catholic archbishops, cardinals, business leaders, politicians. I don't think any of them should keep I don't think any of them should keep their careers. But I think there's a difference between judging the art of someone who's dead so can't profit anymore and allowing someone to continue to profit from their career when they've been exposed as an abuser. And also, there is the question of, well, how bad was what they done? Because there's a few people who've been outed, you know, by the Me Too movement, who are clearly horrible people, but probably haven't committed a crime. Like, you couldn't convict them. There's basically no way you could convict them of a crime. And I know who I'm thinking of here. But, you know, it's like they're a bad boyfriend. But because it was within a consensual relationship and it didn't escalate to the point of battery, there's basically no chance you get a criminal conviction. But they're fucking awful people, and I won't support them. Chris Hardwick springs to mind. But then there's people who are clearly fucking criminals who've been sheltered for years, and right at the top of that springs to mind is Harvey Weinstein, who's clearly, you know, the fucking Satan incarnate. And a criminal, top of everything. Hey, nobody. Laszlo, R. Kelly did benefit from being rich and famous, and a lot of people have made a compelling case that another big reason for him getting away with it is his targets were black girls, and crimes against black girls are not prosecuted as much as crimes against other people. And I think there's a degree of validity to that. So I think there is a double-barreled thing with R. Kelly. Oh yeah, Laszlo, the Chris Brown Rihanna thing was fucking terrible and continues to be terrible. Oh shit. That is a fun off-topic bit of excitement, nobody. Your hot plate on your electric stove exploded. That's pretty wild. I like that. Sure, I say, you here, you queer, you've got your beer. Cheers, I've got my fruit punch. I saw someone mentioning Jimmy Page. I don't remember if it was Jimmy Page, but there was this thing in the 70s, and it had the rather gross name of the baby groupies, because they were very young. They were very young teens or even preteen. David Bowie was tied up in that. I made a video about David Bowie's involvement with that. But it appears to have been one-off with him, whereas there was one other really well-known. Okay, so the names associated besides Bowie, yeah, Jimmy Page is in there, Mick Jagger, Jeff Beck, Mark Bolan, Alice Cooper, Robert Plant, Iggy Pop. Who's one of them? And it might have been Jimmy Page. It might have been someone less known than him, who like really kept going at it for years, and it's incredibly disturbing. And the thing is, there is no question whatsoever the men doing it knew what they were doing was wrong. They knew what they were doing was criminal. They absolutely knew that. And because that's one thing the defenders say, oh, the girl's parents push the girls on them. You can't really blame them and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, I can blame them, because they all knew beyond a doubt what they were doing was wrong, that it was criminal. And they did it anyway, as they felt like they had the right to. So, yeah, it was dodgy as fuck. And what was it? One of the Rolling Stones, Wyman, ended up marrying a girl. I think, yeah, like the legal marriage age was 16 or so, or maybe it was 18. I don't know. But when he married her, they'd clearly been together for years prior, and creepy as fuck. Oh yes, Mr. Aaron. Yes, David. We did talk about Clinton on Tuesday. What I said about him is basically all the grossness of Trump has made me reassess Clinton, because I was one of the people who'd be a fairly big defender of his, saying, look, it was a consensual thing with an adult. Like, yeah, there was a creepy power imbalance, and there's heaps that's creepy about Bill Clinton, but the idea of impeaching him for that is bullshit, and it was adults consensual. But then I thought about, if Trump did that now, if Trump was banging an intern in the White House, I'd be really grossed and disgusted and say that's an absolute abomination. He needs to be punched. I realized I was too easy on Clinton. Clinton was seriously wrong. Wasn't criminal. It absolutely wasn't criminal because it was adult and consensual, but he was wrong. It was an abuse of power. He was in the position where it was up to him to take responsibility and not do that. And yeah, and Charlie, the impeachment was lying. He thought he could get away with it. God, we could go into details because I did read some of the details from the Star Report, and Clinton did a lot of weird shit that you could see the reason he did certain things in certain ways was because in his mind, then he still had plausible deniability. That's why when he said that line, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, in his mind, he was telling the truth because he structured things in such a way that, in his mind, sexual relations means a serious, committed relationship, not getting blowjobs in the office. But he was tying himself in knots to do that. Yeah, see, Leslie, here's the thing with I don't know the details, and I look. Monica Lewinsky seems a very, very together person these days, but I haven't. I don't know if I completely understand if she just doesn't want to talk about it anymore. I haven't seen a thing where, and if someone else has, maybe point me to it because I would be interested. I haven't seen a thing where she conclusively said, uh, I felt pressured to do it, or conversely, I chased it. Because I know that story was put about at the time that she went out of her way to flirt with Clinton and get alone with him. And I don't know if that's true. I don't know where it is on the spectrum. If she thought it was a good idea or if she felt pressured into it. But even if she thought it was a good idea, it was a disgusting power dynamic, and it was Clinton's responsibility to not do it. Clinton's seriously at fault. Seriously at fault there. Yeah, Ms. Voxification, that probably sums it up. At best, it's foolish to hump an intern. At worst, it's abuse. It was definitely at least very foolish. Did Lewinsky get hush money? So I don't think so. I think because there was that whole thing where she went to ground and a bunch of people were trying to protect her and get her to go public with the story. You know, there's that whole thing about the dress, which was apparently a dress Lewinsky had that Clinton spooged on, and Lewinsky never got it cleaned. So theoretically, they could do a DNA test off the spooge stain. I'm really enjoying using an immature term like spooge rather than just saying semen. Spooge is better. There was that whole thing, and I never knew if that was true. And because here's the thing that's weird with the Clintons. Okay, Bill Clinton did some fucked up things. Hillary Clinton said and done some fucked up things in defense of him. But there's a weird thing where since the 90s, they've been under concerted attack by the Republicans with smear and innuendo. And 99% of what the Republicans have leveled against the Clintons is clearly bullshit. because they would have got him. I mean, just look at the difference. Like, we're now up to the third decade of Republicans obsessing about Clintons and throwing mud nonstop, like up to and including murder. They've been accused of murder multiple times. And the Republicans, like 3 decades of smearing shit on the Clintons, and they never got them on anything. Like, they got the mildest thing of being able to get Bill Clinton for lying, saying, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. That's all they got. And then you look at the last 2 years with Trump, it's just like fucking convictions left, right, center. Like, we're now up to 6 people who were super close to Trump for years, and I don't know, like 20 peripheral people with criminal convictions in 2 years. I mean, that's the fucking difference. 3 decades of attacking the Clintons and getting nothing, and 2 years of investigation into Trump, and it's like 6 people really close to him being convicted. And it's just like, yeah, no, that's the difference between smear and actual wrongdoing. I mean, the difference is so stark. It's astonishing. Well, Trump get done for 4. Look, it's really hard to know what's going to happen with Trump, because Americans are very squeamish about their president. But you know, Nixon was going to face investigation and possible impeachment. He resigned to avoid that, and then his vice president, who was elevated to president, Ford, pardoned him. Can Trump trust Pence to pardon him? But the thing is, if and when the Mueller investigation is tabled, I don't know that what seems to be the case. The American system is very complicated, and you get this weird double thing. Sometimes it's criminal, and the Mueller investigation is a criminal investigation. That's why he's indicted all those people and jailed all those people. When we talk about impeachment, that's a political process. It kind of has a lot of legal trappings, but it's a political process. You don't get impeached based on like a court proceeding. You get impeached based on a vote. So it's always going to be along party lines. So it's really hard to know what's going to happen. Like if either the Mueller investigations or hearings Democrats call after the tabling of Mueller investigations shows clear and obvious criminal activity by Trump, it's going to put the Republicans in a really difficult problem for them. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, the Trump pardon himself. I think we know that Trump has had his lawyers look into if he could pardon himself, to which it's very grey. But yeah, the thing is, can he trust Pence to pardon him? Because I think Pence hates him. Pence is using Trump as a tool to push his really reactionary fundamentalist Christian bullshit. But I think if Trump goes, he's at very high risk of Pence going, I always fucking hated you, and not pardoning him. Who knows? Was that Milk Delaski? You doubt Nazis would have their Charlottesville gathering if the National Guard was there to stop them? Yeah, the trouble is who's in the National Guard. And this is not just in the US, this has been shown around the world. The police and the military are infested with neo-Nazis and other extreme right-wingers. They're infested. Josapha, would Pence and Scummo get along? They would get along like a house on fire. They would get along like a house on fire. They're both from ridiculous evangelical happy clapping churches. They'd get so good. Like those you can't keep the straight face that there's going to be serious repercussion. Yeah, I don't know. There are too many unknowns, and also the world is just so weird. Like, we look at it, the whole campaign for Trump, just first to get the Republican nomination and then to win. I lost count of how many things, like 20, 30, 40 things he did that prior to him, any one of them would have derailed someone's presidential aspirations, like one of them. And it was like, no, all over. And Trump just never gave a shit. He's just going, I don't care. It's just a horrible sexist creep. Oh, they've got a tape of me boasting about sexually assaulting people. I made fun of a disabled person. I did really racist shit. And he just never gave a shit. And he just coasted through it all. And so nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing makes sense at all. So, yeah. Dave, what's the chance of an atheist becoming president in the USA? They'll have a gay president before they'll have an atheist president. So I'm just talking about Pence being quiet. That's creepy. Yeah, I think Pence realizes Trump's a train wreck of colossal proportion. I think, look, any objective person knows Trump's a criminal on multiple levels. On multiple levels, Trump is obviously a criminal. Everyone's just like doing this about it. But I think Pence is realizing everyone around Trump is falling like nine pins, and was being as quiet as possible. Okay, well, Shirazi, you're saying there would have been atheists and possibly even gay president. Possibly, but that's pure speculation. Both of those are speculation. You can maybe look at people and go, look at all these things he said. He clearly wasn't a believer. Oh, look at his series of close friendships with men over his life. I think that might be code. It is perfectly possible that there could have been someone who was atheist or gay or bi in the White House. It's just that's purely speculative. I think we were really just meaning an open atheist, and I meant like openly gay. You want the evangelical vote? Look, again, I think the evangelical vote is. Okay, this drives me crazy with the Democrats in the US, at least the ones who hold the power in the Democratic Party. They, oh my God, just this idea that they have to pander to hardcore bigots. Like, Clinton got blowback for saying half of Trump supporters were a basket of deplorables. And after all the shit that Trump said, she got all this blowback just for saying half of Trump's supporters were deplorable. I mean, they're fucking all deplorable. It's like people who were actively, and again, by Trump supporters, I don't mean Republicans. I don't even mean Republicans who voted for Trump because they were just voting for their guy. I mean the avid Trump supporters. They're fucking garbage. They're just aggressively cheering on his bigotry and his abuse, and they're absolutely disgusting. And the idea that Clinton got all this blowback and she apologized. It's like, why do they keep fucking apologizing? It's just like they're pandering to this extreme right who hates them and is never going to stop hating them. It's like, just harden the fuck up. Drink a cup of cement, as the saying goes. This idea, we should build a bridge. We've got to sort of come together. No, fuck, there is this cluster of people who are never going to be anything apart from hideous, hateful, bigoted blobs of filth. And fuck them. I mean, for fuck's sake. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Is that a real Fringe candidate, Laszlo? The Wayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho? That sounds like someone who, like one of those Fringe guys, or someone in the Libertarian Party, where Raiders, you see Maddo doesn't actually screen in Australia. I'd kind of like to see, because I've seen little clips of her every now and then. It seems like she does some good stuff, but her stuff doesn't actually screen in Australia. And she's, you have to be a real sort of political tragic like me in Australia to know who Rachel Maddow is. But yes. Oh, sorry. That's the president from Idiocracy. Right. I should have known that. I have seen Idiocracy. I have it on disc. Yeah, that's weird. When you put the whole thing in, that threw me. If it was just Camacho, I probably would have remembered who President Camacho was. Played by Terry Crews. Hey, this is a fun one. Okay. Terry Crews got a lot of stick this week for making really shitty, stupid comments. You say he's making that bullshit children have to have a mother and a father argument, because he's like a fundy Christian, and a lot of people rightly got pissed off because that's such a bullshit line, and it's like, even getting past the homophobic nature of that comment. Yeah, he did. He basically said a child's not properly nourished without a mother or something. So it's like, even getting past the homophobic nature of that comment, leave that aside. It's like, we're shitting all over people whose mother died. You're saying there's something wrong with them because they didn't have a mother. You're shitting all over single dads who raise families. And you're shitting on people who have bad mothers. The idea that all mothers are warm and nourishing and wonderful and positive is just fucking ridiculous. And it's just stupid. Like, it is an incredibly stupid statement. And it's fucking obnoxious and hurtful to a huge number of people. Like, a lot of people focused on that's an inherently homophobic statement. It's coming from the Christian evangelical and whatnot. But yeah, even if you're fine with homophobia, like I said, you're just shitting over people who grew up without a mother, like their mother died. You're telling single dads their shit. And you're telling people who have terrible mothers that there's something wrong with them, not their terrible fucking, like, it's just a dumb fucking thing. And because he got a big pile on for that, and his initial reaction was like doubling down and lashing out. Kind of understand, like, if the whole world fucking piled on me, even if I said something really shit, my initial reaction would probably be incredibly defensive. But just today or yesterday, he sort of put a statement out. He said he's talking to someone. I don't even know who the person he was talking to with. He said, look, I sat down with such and such, and they explained why what I said was hurtful. They explained to me the baggage that went along with what I said. And he just went, and I was wrong. I realized I was wrong. I said stuff that hurt a lot of people. It was never my motivation. And he said, I love everyone. He didn't say, I'm sorry if you were offended. He said, what I said was wrong. That to me is interesting. And I've seen, but most people I've seen have gone, well, that's good. That's an actual admission of what he did wrong. It's talking about he listened and learned, and it's an admission that his words were really destructive. And he seems to be genuinely apologizing for that. I did see some other people saying, oh, no, get fucked. And yeah, you've got to believe in the possibility of redemption. And like I said, he definitely did not do the really shitty non-apology that 99% of obnoxious people who get called out on something, they go, I'm sorry that you were offended, which is absolute horseshit. So you fucking find the text of it. Yeah, the word he used was malnourished. He said parents of same-sex parents were severely malnourished. Didn't get the wording of his actual apology because I did see it, and I thought it was pretty good. No, that's not what I saw. I'm trying to find it. That one article didn't have it because it was on Twitter or social media anyway, where it was quite involved, and to me it was quite direct. Stephanie Beatrice, okay, that's who he talked to. I don't know who that is, but I'll find out. Is that his co-star on? I was going to say Reno 9/11. Yeah, okay, that is his bisexual Brooklyn Nine-Nine star. Okay, I'm not good with names. So, okay, this is what I saw. He said, I had a great talk with Stephanie Beats this morning on set, shed a lot of light on why the LGBTQ community were hurt by my comments. I want to apologize for anyone who was triggered or felt targeted. I was speaking out of my very personal experiences as a Black father. And while these experiences for me are very true and real, these can differ greatly from the experiences of others. Being able to sit with her gave me perspective I'd not seen before. I believe men need to be more vulnerable in order to fix many problems we created. Starts with me. I don't always have to agree, but always listen. I love every person on earth. I want to see every man, woman, and child flourish. So, look, honestly, he's still a Christian who's not really into same-sex parents. I think honestly, but I think he's completely. I think he gave a proper apology, basically. Hey, Big Pat, how you going? Raiders, any thoughts on Tim Pool? I don't even know who Tim Pool is, and I don't listen to Joe Rogan podcasts because Rogan validates complete fucking assholes. Is he part of Occupy Wall Street? Okay, yeah, I don't know who Tim Pool is. I can't keep up with everyone. He said he had concerns of censorship with Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey's a bit of Pretty clown. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the no. I said that the thing is, okay. So you're saying that the Carl debate with Destiny. I saw a bit of that because Kev Logan was doing a reaction to it, um, and I saw a bit of that. The thing is with transphobic wankers, they're all of their arguments are stupid. Every anti-trans argument is stupid. When they start saying science, they're wrong. And they just start saying language and usage, they're wrong. And so every time you completely shoot down their stupid fucking argument, they come up with an even more stupid one. You know, step parents, stepchildren, not a real family. They're not your real mum and dad. It's like, oh, well, just get fucked, honestly. Also, yeah, I don't know about YouTube notifications. Um, I don't know how to make them work completely. Oh, Pat, you're not girlfriend with Rachel anymore. Oh, you're just playing the field, seeing all the girls. You go, big guy. Nintendo Lunchbox. Hello, 2 a.m. in Vegas. Nice to see you. Safa, what about this Tim Cook Apple news? What? Which news? Just Trump calling him Tim Apple? Which is stupid. Yeah, you've summed that up, Laszlo. He pivots between arguing sociology and biology whenever he starts losing, and he always loses because he's more. All the anti-trans arguments are complete horseshit. They come down to, yeah, the trans thing's creepy. That's all their argument is, and it's kind of like when SWERFs, the sex work excluding rad femmes, all the people who argue uh, against consensual sex work, there is not a single argument they make that can't be made for other work. They go, well, some people are coerced into it. A lot of people are coerced into their job. Oh, some people feel trapped in sex work. They can't get money out of the way. A lot of people feel trapped in their jobs and they're terrible jobs that aren't fulfilling, but they can't get money any other way. Exploitation in any job is criminal. Okay, and the whole thing about human trafficking, there is, and I'm not even joking. I'm not making this up. There is much more human trafficking in other jobs. If the people campaigning against sex work under the guise of human trafficking aren't campaigning more heavily on the trafficking of and exploitation of domestic workers, that's particularly bad across Asia and the Middle East. Also, it's in Europe and America and Australia as well. There's exploitation in the building trades with non-documented workers. There are whole areas of the world where people are working under conditions that are basically indiscernible from slavery. Like they're kept in compounds, they have no freedom, they can't get away, and that happens all over. It's like, yeah, if you really care about trafficking and exploitation, there are far bigger issues than sex work. Yeah, Tendai, you're preaching to the choir here about not listening to Carl. Well, he keeps getting deplatformed, which is super funny. I just can't stop laughing. Like it's years overdue. It's kind of like all the owners of these tech companies just go like, oh, if we provide a platform that allows people to do fucking terrible things, and those terrible things those people say on our platform have real world consequences that cause actual harm, including mass killings in the real world, wow, we're kind of responsible for that. Like if we give a platform that gives unfettered promotion, to actual Nazis and fascists who are preaching race war and preaching ethnic cleansing, and then someone goes and does it, wow, we actually bear some responsibility for that. And even with the MRAs, when you get to the violent incels, and I forget how many mass shootings we're up to now that were people who came directly out of these incel groups. And it's just like, and the tech companies are finally realizing, oh, we can't just give these people free reign because it's actually dangerous. People are getting killed. Nintendo Lunchbox. Yes, we already had the Leaving Neverland conversation. I think we're all in the Jacko's guilty camp. I don't know if you can. I don't think you can legally watch Leaving Neverland in Australia yet. You probably will be able to soon. And so, by all means, someone correct me. I can't keep track of the various streaming services here. I don't know what's on Netflix, what's on Foxtel, what's on Stan. I think Amazon Prime is here now. Hulu isn't here. Oh yeah, Marcy, the au pair industry is fucked. Yeah, and that problem with au pair and other domestic workers is really, really bad all through Asia, all through the Middle East, and it's also a pretty big problem in America, the US, probably Australia as well. Doesn't get much airtime here, so I don't know how big a thing. But we have undocumented works, basically people who aren't here legally, who on farms or construction sites. Mimsy's come in to say hello. Oh, yes, Shazi asked Peter Dutton, what's the go with the au pairs? Pat, when's the next YouTube meetup here? Probably in the next month. Keep an eye out. Charlie on Channel 10. Oh, 10 Play. That's the streaming service for Channel 10. I'd be surprised if it went on the broadcast Channel 10, because it sounds a bit full on to go on one of the broadcast channels. Mimsy's come to say hello. She loves you. Yes. I think she was bothering Mrs. Angry in the next room, so she got Shani. She likes it because she gets to come in and get the attention. You love the attention, don't you? Don't you? Yes. Yes, you do. She's the thing, like, if I haven't scratched her enough, she'll just headbutt me to say, scratch me some more. Yeah. Ooh, look, this is actually probably going to be a bit longer than a normal live stream. Like, I might stay on to like 10:30 because Mrs. Angry's son has gone to like a high school formal event tonight. So she has to stay up and pick him up sometime between, I don't know, 10:30 and 11. So I said I'd stay up with her. So I might stay live for longer than usual. Yes. So Miss Fox question, Leaving Neverland, Friday 22 Feb. So that's not for a couple of weeks. I know, Tendai. I'm a mad rebel, aren't I? I think I need something to keep me going. See this handy little cocktail menu. Make myself, yes, more time for cocktails. It's not technically one of the young angry suffer. We have one of those blended households. I have two kids, from a previous relationship. Mrs. Angry has a son, different father. So, and they spend half the time with each parent. So we have between 0 and 3 offspring in the house, depending which day of the week is. We have all the variations. It might be 0, 1, 2, or 3 in the house. Tonight's actually a 3 night, except Mrs. Angry's son is out till a bit later. The Godfather, Scotch and amaretto. I don't have any amaretto. I drank all my amaretto. I had a big bottle of Di Serono from Costco. I thought Mrs. Angry would like it, but it's not, because it's there's a Italian liqueur. Amaretto is it tastes like marzipan, basically, because it's got the same base ingredient as marzipan. Laszlo, no topic is off topic. We need to change topics regularly. Game of Thrones season 8. I haven't watched the trailer. They just put the trailer out, I hear. This is an interest. Champagne with Scotch, well, American whiskey. A French 95 is American whiskey, lemon juice, sugar syrup, champagne. So that's a whiskey sour topped with champagne. That's an interesting one. The Scotch ones. Rob Roy is Scotch vermouth bitters. The Godfather is Scotch and amaretto. Whiskey Smash. American whiskey bitters, sugar syrup, lemon wedge, mint leaves. Yeah, smash. If they call a drink a smash, that usually means mashed up mint leaves. Yeah, my favourite. Whiskey sour. Ooh, okay. A little variation I've never heard of. A dash of absinthe to a whiskey sour makes it a rattlesnake. I've never done that. Maybe I should do that. Yes, yes, he says. I'm going to do that. We're talking about the books for Game of Thrones as well. I mean, God, how many years ago did the last book come out? 5 years ago? Something like that? And then the show ended up passing it. And of course, the show diverged quite a bit from the books as well. It's kind of like the other show I like watching, The Walking Dead, because I've been reading the Walking Dead comic for years. Same deal. They changed enough details in the Walking Dead TV show that you were never really sure what's happened. It's got the same big arc happening, but a lot of the details are different. A lot of the characters are different and whatnot. You think Mimsy looks fluffy from this one. All right. So I think we've settled. I'm going to make a whiskey sour. So should I make it with Scotch or bourbon? Whiskey sour is most often made with American whiskey, bourbon or rye. So that's the big question. Do I make my whiskey sour with Scotch or with bourbon? Was that Laszlo? Walking Dead had an anticlimactic ending. What do you regard as an anticlimactic ending? Because it obviously hasn't ended. Isn't Daniel being Game of Thrones trolls? Shirazi, you would love telling people that Joffrey was going to be the last one standing. Yeah, it's interesting the amount of changes they made in the TV show, particularly a lot of the creepy rape stuff they kept putting in, particularly when they had Sansa being abused by Ramsay Bolton. And apparently, well, yeah, reports vary, but there were reports George R.R. Martin really didn't like what they were doing. He really disliked. He never intended for Sansa to be raped and abused by Ramsay Bolton. and but he's got a contractual thing where he can't badmouth the show. So his agent was like his proxy, and she was making public statements of it's really shit what they did in the in this, that, and the other, because George R.R. Martin's not allowed to badmouth the show, so his agent does it as his proxy. But there are conflicting views onto whether he does it or doesn't do it. But anyway, that's right. God, you got a good musical area there. It was Jane Poole that Ramsay Bolton raped in the book. Yes. Oh God, Nintendo Lunchbox. The big question: what are the odds that Trump wins 2020? I don't know. I look, in any sane universe, the odds are zero. By 2020, his criminality should have been exposed. He should be gone. But nothing about Trump and the Trump presidency makes any sense at all. Absolutely nothing made sense. So, fuck it. I've ceased wanting to predict. Okay, Comrade Laszlo, I'll let you in a little secret. The thing about Rick saving Negan is exactly what happened in the comics as well. The main reason Negan is integral to some continuation of some story. And Rick's already killed the big bad before. He killed the governor. You know, he killed his previous things. The writer Robert Kirkman clearly wanted to do something different because Negan still being alive means he's always there as a potential threat. So yeah. Music over, yeah. AOC can't run for at least 2 more cycles because she is so young. Tentai. So weird. Negan's coming to Tekken. I agree. He'd fit better in Mortal Kombat. He'd have some good fatalities. Yeah, Laszlo, they could have killed off Negan if they wanted, but Negan living was a very important thing to Robert Kirkman. It was a key thing to do something different and to have the element of Negan being there as a wild card in what happens from then on. Obviously, they could have, but that's one thing that Robert Kirkman clearly regards as important. And look, we all have different opinions of these things, and maybe it was because that was the way it played out in the comics. So I'd read it years earlier, so I'd already processed years earlier that Rick didn't want to kill Negan. But yeah, that's it is what it is. So I need to get together some bits. We're going to do a rattlesnake. Need to vote. Should I be using Scotch whiskey or bourbon for it? I need to get my shaker and sugar syrup and lemon juice. Oh, egg white. I've got to get that. Okay. Just a sec. Okay, cocktail shaker here. Egg white from the fridge. Okay. I need my sugar syrup. I've got agave syrup. Absinthe. You know what? On my little variation, they said put a cherry in it. And I don't have a cherry, so I might put a splash of cherry liqueur in. So, did anyone vote if I should be doing Scotch or? No. Okay. So, what's here? Is this my bourbon? This bourbon? Yeah, I think so. All right. This is my salted caramel bourbon, I think. That has altered stuff in it. Wait, where's my jigger? Okay. Jigger. Do the measures, do some bourbon. Make it a double. Okay. Wheat. Egg white. A little cut. Marcy, I don't tend to drink alcohol straight like serious drinkers do. I make cocktails because cocktails taste different. A little bit of egg white in there. Okay, sugar syrup. Maybe he's headbutting me again. The splash of absinthe. Shasi, I always measure. Too much. That's one of the reasons I measure. It's probably too much absinthe. Yeah, only 75% alcohol. And I'm going to put a splash of cherry in there as well. Marcy, there is a big difference in bourbon and gin and vodka and whatnot. I prefer like I said, I prefer the way they taste in cocktails to drinking them straight. Nintendo lunchbox. Why did the old lady fall in the well? Don't know. Why did the old lady fall in the well? She didn't see that well. Why did the old lady fall in the well? Because she didn't see that well. Comrade Basler, you're trying to be pedantic with our actual history. Well, of course, if old Georgie ever did something that didn't make sense according to our histories, of course he just gets to say, well, it's not us, is it? It's not us. It's just, you know, something else. Ah, I just realized I need, I'm going to have it in my tiki glass, my cut glass tiki. Oh my God, I'm sure it's in there. I'm going to get a big block of ice. And my ice store to get the big block of ice. This. Hold up next to my head, anyone else? Yeah, that is a big block of ice. Let's put that in there. Put the ice back in the freezer. Okay. Ice cream. Okay. So we're all set. I'll give the old crocodile another shake. We're pretty sure Game of Thrones wasn't based on War of the Roses. It was based on an acid trip George Martin had. Oh God, suffer. What percentage of cardinals are pedophiles? I don't want to do it. All right. Oh wow, that's a very rich color. The absinthe and the cherry have given it a really rich color. What it is, I've gotten into big ice cubes. Basically, I searched homeware stores to find silicon ice cube trays that made big ice cubes, and I found a really big one in a specialty cocktail and bitters place in Fitzroy. It's called the Bitters Lab. They have like, oh God, hundreds of sorts of bitters and other cocktail accoutrements. And that's where I got this tiki mug from and my cocktail shaker. And yeah, a really big ice cube tray. It smells pretty good. Oh man, that's good. I've just made a totally new drink, a snake bite. I really like that. I do use the big ice cube for my Pepsi as well. Ah, Shirazi, see, that's good lateral thinking. A silicon muffin tray, the big ice blocks. I was going to, if I couldn't find sort of a designed ice cube tray, I was just going to use like a silicon baking thing. But I found a place that had good silicon ice molds that I like. I've also got some good circle ones in there. Circle, sphere. We are not living in a two-dimensional world. It makes spheres. Man, okay. For a bit of variety, the snake bite is a really good variation. No, rattlesnake, not a snake. Snake bite's something else. A rattlesnake is a good variation of whiskey sour. It didn't foam up. Like if I normally make a whiskey sour with the egg white makes it foam up. I think the absinthe, something in the absinthe makes it not foam up. It is a really nice, rich color, sort of orangey brown. So it's picked up red from the absinthe, and the cherry hearing is very dark red. So yeah, it's quite nice. Put it on the slate. I look, I could conceive of having a rattlesnake more than once, definitely. Tell you what I might do next time though, because I do like it to be foamy. I might do the shake without the absinthe, because I'm pretty sure it's the absinthe that stopped it from going foamy. So I might do the shake without the absinthe to get it foamy, and pour that in a glass, and then dribble the absinthe on the top. Comrade, yes, you like poppy seed muffins, heroin muffins. You know, you will test positive for opiates if you eat poppy seed muffin. I actually saw that shown as because I didn't know if that was an urban legend, as some show that Richard, what's his name, who's on the BBC motoring show, which I never watched. So Top Gear, Richard Hammond from Top Gear. It was this thing where he's basically, testing out, is this true or an urban legend? And there was a story that you could test positive on a drug test just by eating a poppy seed muffin. And so he got the local vicar in, the vicar's above reproach. He's going to have a poppy seed muffin, and then we're going to do this drug test, which workplaces often use. And yeah, he tested positive for opiates just from poppy seeds, because poppy seeds literally, are from the same family of poppy that makes heroin and other opiates. So yeah, fairly warned be ye. If you have random drug testing at your work, don't eat poppy seed muffins or bagels or bread rolls, anything with poppy seeds. It just goes to show how unreliable that shit is. It was so, yeah, Charlie, it was a Mythbusters knockoff. It was absolutely a Mythbusters knockoff. Wow, I'm really glad I put the cherry in, because it's coming through. A good cocktail to me has multiple flavors. When you drink it, you do little sips, and you actually get multiple flavors. Now, absinthe is a very strong flavor. It's very licorice flavor, aniseed flavor, and that's why I only put a dash in. Well, it says to just put a dash in, but yeah, and it said to put a maraschino cherry in, which I don't have any of, but I thought, yeah, I've got cherry liqueur. I'll improvise with that. And the cherry liqueurs put another flavor in there. This is actually, each sip I have, I'm liking this one more. So yeah, whiskey sour is basically my favorite cocktail. But yeah, this is a nice variation. My top two cocktails are definitely the whiskey sour and the sidecar. They're both nice and simple. A sidecar is it's basically it's cognac or brandy. A lot of people think you have to use an expensive cognac. I use a relatively cheap brandy, not the cheapest, but a relatively cheap brandy, like the Napoleon piece of. And then you use an orange liqueur. You use triple sec. I have Cointreau. That's more expensive than triple sec. I'm a bit more upmarket, so I've got cheaper brandy, but the more expensive orange liqueur and lemon juice. It's basically those three things, and you can put a sweetener in it as well, if you like either some powdered sugar or a bit of sugar syrup. But yeah, it's basically a Cointreau, orange liqueur, brandy or cognac, and lemon juice. Very simple, really nice drink. I was just saying, the right wingers have decided they hate Mythbusters because Adam is very, very openly a social justice warrior. Yes, it's so weird. It's oh yeah, Bill Nye. Yeah, he's on the side of good and proper. It's just Jesus, that whole mentality that has just metastasized in the last 5 years. I think the real triggering event was Gamergate, that for all their lies was actually started by a fucking psycho who wanted revenge on his ex. All those lies about what they call it, ethics in games journalism, is absolute bullshit. The entire thing was started as a revenge campaign from some fucking psychopath wanting to get back at his ex. And then, because the whole thing was so steeped in misogyny, all the horrible little nasty misogynists piled on. And then you got the people, look, and yes, obviously you can say, oh, there are these things wrong in the gaming industry, and certainly games journalism. And so you got these people who are very high profile, who proudly proclaimed they're definitely not misogynist. I am just concerned about ethics in game journalism. And I don't really want to go with the call out on these people, but these people just talking complete shit and saying, oh, Gamergate's not misogynist because I support the cause of Gamergate and I'm not misogynist. It's like, fuck you. Just fuck you. The idea that you're going to get on the bandwagon of this fucking hate machine and legitimize it and saying, and effectively saying, nobody involved in this bullshit is a hateful, misogynist shitbag because I proclaim that I'm not a hateful, misogynist shitbag. And it's just like, nah, fuck you. Anyone who backed that at all should be fucking ashamed of themselves because it was absolutely disgusting. Nothing but contempt for them. Oh yeah, Shirazi in there, hate boner for Anita Sarkeesian. Yeah, they're just. And what was really funny is because they got super upset at the Tropes in Games series she did. And it's like they're going like, take games seriously, take games seriously. And goes, okay, I am going to take games seriously. And I am going to place the sort of lens of critique over them that is placed on every other art form, literature, films, plays, all these things have this critique applied to them. I'm going to apply the same critique to gaming because I'm taking it seriously. It's like, when we said take it seriously, we didn't mean like that. It's like, fuck it. And yeah, look, you can certainly, I've seen stuff cited from some of Sarkeesian stuff that go, okay, I don't agree with that. Particularly, there was some stuff that seemed like she had quite a demeaning attitude to sex workers, and which I have an issue with that. But even if, you know, if she critiques some things in games and I didn't agree with, it's like, well, you know, you're getting out there and you're applying this thing to it. You know, you're raising talking points. Yeah, it's like if you disagree with the talking points, then okay, just rationally provide a counterpoint. Don't be a sort of psycho about it. It's like, damn. Sorry, talking about the movie, was that the Sarkeesian effect? Yeah. Look, that was just one of the examples of con artists using that angry misogynist hate mob to enrich their bank balance. Every time they do that, every time I was speaking to him, here's a crowdfunding thing to make a documentary to say why feminists are shit, and then they don't do it and they rip off the money and stuff. I just laugh. I just go, fucking take their money. Take their fucking money. Anyone who wants to give money to these people who are just fucking grifters, you deserve to be ripped off. Marcy, look, here's where I have to admit I have not watched the Sarkeesian video in question. I just saw some people I know on social media who are sex workers, and these are very sort of lefty feminist sex workers. They had very big problems with the language Sarkeesian used. So yeah, I have to admit, I only watched a couple of the tropes videos, and I thought they raised really interesting talking points. Some I agreed with, some I was like, some I was like, holy shit, I'd never thought. There's that, and that's great. I love when someone's doing a social critique and they frame something in a particular way, and I go, oh my god, I'd never thought of that. And it's just like, woo, woo, mind blown. That is really good. That is really good. Yeah, and I like it when that happens, when you're just like watching your thing and they're framing stuff, and it's sort of in, you know, the ballpark of stuff you agree with, and then they just frame something in a particular way, and it's like, oh, holy crap, wow. You know, that's a really good observation, or that's a really good analogy. I really like that. The one she did, it was the it was called Smurfette syndrome or something, and it was basically I think I'm getting headbutted for some scratches. It was basically a very, very common trope in video games that a personality or character type was just female. It's like you got 10 male characters who all have their particular personality and their driving forces and whatnot. And then you have one character who's female and their personality is they're female. And sometimes, and this happens a lot, they are literally the male character with a bow in their hair. It's like Ms. Pac-Man, and I think there was Bowser's daughter in one here. But it was really interesting. It was like just kind of like, oh my god, this is actually really common and really widespread in games, that the female character, the entire personality and backstory of the character is they're female. And there'll be all these male characters that have a personality and a backstory, and the female character is female. That's it. Marcy, that's a good point to say. You like a lot of her critiques and still like the game she talked about. That's the phrase they use in feminist frequency, is something along the lines of be critical of the media you love. What they're saying is you don't go into that much detail with games unless you like games. And it's possible to look at something and go, yeah, that's kind of shit, and I don't like the way they did that, and but I really enjoyed playing the game. So like, wow. Oh, yep, misclassification. It's not just heteronormativity. It's not just hetero being default and only or normal choice, but lead characters being straight, white, male. And any deviation from that is subject to endless debate and discussion. Let's just tokenism going, what? What the fuck? What the fuck? It's just like, you are literally saying straight white male is normal and everything else is a contrivance or pandering or, yeah, a plot device. It's just like, what the fuck? How do you not get that that's a really fucking stupid position? It just does my head in. Holy fuck, this is a good drink. Sorry, I'm just like, I always like trying something. And sorry, my little variation, putting the cherry liqueur in, not just I keep trying to show the label. Oh, this is a really good drink though. And so it's not just the rattlesnake, was it? What did we call it? It was called a rattlesnake, wasn't it? What was it? Yeah, rattlesnake. Ah, I should give it an Australian snake name because I did a little variation. It's a taipan. I declare this to be a taipan. And so that's a whiskey sour with a dash of absinthe and a dash of cherry liqueur. That's a taipan. Oh, I tell you what, I think, I know I've said this repeated. This is a brand of absinthe I usually get. It's a French one, I think. No, Spanish. Spanish. It's got a very French sounding name, Jacques Sirot, but it's a Spanish absinthe. There you go. And they color code their it's like green is the most common color for absinthe. It's known as the green fairy. Their green absinthe is 70% alcohol. Generally, absinthe is anywhere between 40 and 70%. It's usually a very high alcohol spirit. So if it's only 40%, that's quite low for absinthe. 60, 70% is reasonably common. So their green absinthe is 70% alcohol. The red, which I have, is 75% alcohol. They make a blue one that's 80% alcohol and a black one that's 85% alcohol. I used to always get the black one because, hey, bang for buck, eh? Fucking 85% alcohol. But when I got into making cocktails, this black absinthe made the cocktail go black and muddy, which is really unappealing. And I had the blue one for a while, but I eventually decided that the red one was the most pleasing color-wise when I mixed it. So I do have to go to a specialist to get this. The general bottle shops tend to have like green fairy stuff. It's about 50%. I don't even know how much it is. It's this one here. What percent alcohol? See if I can look it up online. Yeah, hey, thanks for the headbutt. Green fairy absinthe. Let's see a picture of a bottle to work out. Saying it's 100 proof, so that's 50% alcohol. So I'll double check. I'll find a picture of it from a local bottle shop and check what it is. It's taking a God, my browser on this laptop is shit. So what are we talking about? A joke. Carl's Autos, fault flag, Big Joel. Wow. Oh, the false flagging of the fucking alt-righters is shit. Green Fairy. Green Fairy, 60%. Okay, that's a check absinthe. Okay, so that's common in bottle shops in Australia, the Green Fairy. That's 60%. So that's a decent pick. But yeah, this one's 75%. Ah. Oh my God. Okay, so the Taipan, which I have just invented, is a good drink. And I will do it again. Although, like I said, the next time, because I like it to be frothy, I'm going to do the whiskey sour shake without the absinthe and the cherry, and got a nice little bit of foamy on the top. I'm going to dribble the red absinthe and cherry pure on top of that, and that'll look very artistic. But isn't the weird thing, like when you're talking about the right wingers false flagging Big Joel's video, and that is a big problem. What bugs me? Okay, like the right wingers criticize the left and the social justice warriors, saying you're anti-free speech. You're like trying to get things. So when you get the protesters saying like that person, you know, is a piece of shit and they shouldn't be given a platform. So when people on the left protest someone and say, hey, that person should be shut down, they mean it sincerely. But you get this bullshit from the free speech warriors on the right where they try and get people's social media shut down. And like they were really happy when they got the director James Gunn fired from Disney, from Marvel, because he was anti-Trump. They campaign on stuff they don't give a shit about. Like they're so cynical. They're so empty and soulless. They make a big stink about shit they don't even care about. At least on the left, when people go, hey, I want that shit shut down, it's coming from a position of sincerity. I don't always agree with it. Yeah, Mr. 09, Mike Cernovich, the fucking lying, hypocritical, doxing sack of shit. So they're completely dishonest. They're just fucking garbage liars. They make a big scene about stuff they don't even give a shit about. So yeah, fuck it. Tento, I have to patent it before it gets stolen like a flaming amber. No, cocktails belong to the world. Oh my God, I'm gonna make another one. That was really good. Shirazi, what's an earthquake? I'll see what the internet says an earthquake cocktail is. You wanted something potent. Earthquake cocktail. What does the internet say is in an earthquake? Oh yeah, cognac and absinthe. Let's have a look. So I've got brandy. That's a good thing for cognac. It's an intense potion adapted by one served at parties by French artist Henri Toulouse-Lautrec. Okay. So it's just cognac with a tiny bit of absinthe. They're saying 2.5 ounces cognac, so 2 shots of cognac, and 1/4 ounce of absinthe, so just a splash of absinthe. No, fuck it, man, the Taipan is better. Say that because I like brandy cocktails. Safa, the spelling of Taipan is Taipan. That is a particularly dangerous and venomous Australian snake. I like that, Leslie. Isn't an earthquake cocktail just a drink you buy in California? Holy shit, Shirazi, that is devilish. You do an even split, 2-ounce cognac, 2-ounce absinthe. Okay, that's a devastating drink. That is a really devastating drink. Fucking 2 ounces of absinthe. Even a full shot of absinthe is pretty fucking full on. Again, bearing in mind, if you get this brand, a single shot of this is like a double shot of vodka or gin or cognac. Yeah, I have found in my exploration of cocktails, a lot of people have different ideas of how to make the same named drinks. I was talking about the old school play, the Atari 2600. Because I am very old. Like the earliest video game I played was Pong. My God, no, because that was one of the first commercial video games that was in bars and stuff. Was Pong. I saw this thing where the original Pong tables. It was fucking physical. Like, okay, you think it was a video game. It's just the bats and the ball, and you have a dial, you twist. The earliest Pong games, there was a physical thing moving under it. Like the ball was a physical thing that was moving. It was, firing electrons at the screen above or whatever, so it lit up. But it was a physical thing. The ball was physical and the paddles were physical. That blew my mind when I first saw that the original Pong was everything on it was physical. That really blew my mind. I had a very early Atari. I'm trying to think. We did have one of the really simple game consoles that had like Pong. And we had, a gun, one of the light guns where a square would move around the screen and you were trying to shoot it. I think that was an Atari console. It was a very early console. And then I don't think I bought another one till a Nintendo 64, which I still have. My original Nintendo 64 still works, and we get it out occasionally to play Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, or Perfect Dark for a shooter. Yeah. Yeah, Ms. Foxification, it must be ridiculous to be told by silly little angry boy gamers that you can't be a gamer when you actually have been for decades. Yeah, Marcy, you're definitely OG gamer, same as us. So if you don't have, I never had a PS1, I had a PS2. We bought a couple of Nintendo consoles. We didn't get a Cube. We did get a Wii. And then a couple years ago, one year ago, we got both the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. So current generation consoles we have now. But for years, the newest console we had was a Nintendo Wii. And we were still playing like the PlayStation 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2 on PlayStation 2 was great. We're still playing Nintendo 64, but yeah, now we've got a PlayStation 4 and a Switch. So, yeah. Tendo, you've got the X-Bone. Oversized VCR. I like that as a description, actually. And I play a lot of games on my phone. Oh, you know what I want to kind of thinking of games I like. I want there to be another Borderlands game. I fucking love Borderlands. I like the original Borderlands and Borderlands 2 and the expansions for Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. I fucking love those games. I want a new Borderlands game, quite honestly. Oh, Geez, Shirazi, I'm not ashamed of the 64. Loved it. The Wii didn't actually play that many games on it. It's very weird, but anyway. Ooh, what's that, Tendai? Not after the shit lying Randy Pitchford did. I don't even know who Randy Pitchford is, let alone what Randy lied about. I'd love to hear the goss. I love goss. Yeah, I'm really, really tempted to get Red Dead Redemption 2, the PS4, and I just think I'd never do anything else for weeks. I'd just be immersed in Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm really tempted to play Zelda Breath of the Wild again because that's fucking great. God, I still haven't played God of War on the PS4. I started it. I think I'm probably only a tenth of the way through it. I'm at a very early stage. Um, I put it down so long ago, I feel like I'd have to start again just to get the mechanics right, because I think I'd forget all the mechanics of the game. And because, a lot of people voted God of War Game of the Year. I really enjoyed fucking I love the world exploring games, Breath of the Wild. I really liked Grand Theft Auto 4. I really fucking enjoyed that. Liked Mafia 3, Yakuza 0. I love that type of game where you build your stuff up and do it. But yeah. Oh yeah, Safa, we got great DLC for Breath of the Wild. All the extra suits of armor. Obsessively finding all the DLC suits of armor was fun. But it's it's just a wild game. Enjoyed it so much, and I think like I could play it again and play it completely differently. There's so much room to play around in there. I could uh, like definitely try different things and explore differently. Um, and because I fell into particular patterns when I was playing it. Comrade Leslie about the Fallout 76 armor colored. I've never been into the Fallout games. It's so interesting to me. Like I've never played any of the battle royale games. Uh, like PlayerUnknown Battleground, or of course the dominant force at the moment, Fortnite. Uh, I've read some really interesting articles about Fortnite, whereas Fortnite has become for teenagers and younger. It's become a social network. It's become a hangout space. It's not just a game, it's a hangout space. And the makers are apparently making an utter fucking fortune. It's not really DLC, but you can buy costumes and whatnot for your avatar. And apparently, they're just making a shit ton of money out of these teen and younger players who want to spruce up how they look in the game. Wow. Mm. But yeah, I'm definitely into the games, the open world games, which is why I'm so tempted uh, to get Red Dead Redemption 2. But yeah, I think that would take up a lot of my life. And I feel like I haven't been working enough on my YouTube channel as it is. If I was getting swallowed up by Red Dead Redemption or another game, I'd be spending even less time on my channel. So I'm very wary of getting into another game. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, Marcy, we've got Skyrim for PS4, and I did start it, but I didn't go very far into it. Mrs. Angry really got into Skyrim. She went down the magic path, whichever character that was, and married a lizard man, and and I was so like I was watching her play, and so many of the NPCs are rude to you. And it's going at the point when her character is strong enough to just take down a dragon with magic, and someone shit talks her and just goes, "Oh, just because you can do that, no, no." I was going like, man, I would lightning bolt that motherfucker's face off. I just go, oh, nothing. Poof. I would fuck him up. And she goes, oh no. Then the guards go after you, and you have a bounty on your head, and it's real hassle. I'm going, yeah, but I feel like they'd respect you a bit more if someone shit talks you and you just blow their fucking head off. See you later, Tendo. Thanks for running by. And hello, Laura. How are you? Normally, I'd be gone. Normally, you would have missed me. But because Mrs. Angry has to stay up, I'm staying up a bit. So, yes. Safa, I have often considered live streaming gameplay. I mean, maybe I should get onto Twitch or something. I don't know. Because I really enjoy live streaming generally. And I think people would find it funny that to watch me, because I do get very sweary when I game. And like when the controller went, no, fuck, no, fuck, I fucking hit that, fuck. There's a lot of that action when I'm playing. Oh my god. Stuff, what about Huawei's problems with the US government? Yeah, that's pretty fucking full on. Look, Miss Foxification, there's so much shit going on in the world. Our attention can get diverted. There is a lot of tensions between China and other countries. In the South China Sea, there's lots of competing claims on bits of the ocean from Japan, China, other Asian nations. Sea lanes, America thinks they have rights to. It's pretty full on. Raiders, do I have the PC power to stream gaming? I think so, because I got my PC reasonably beefed just to render video when I'm editing. So I don't think I'd have too much trouble streaming gaming. But of course, you can do it from the consoles as well. And in fact, Young was Angry. It's doing a bit of streaming at the moment. She actually just bought a little box. I think it was on eBay. It's either from eBay or Amazon, and it's basically designed to help you stream from the Switch. I'm not sure of the technical ins and outs of it, but she's really into Twitch. Yeah, Raiders. I think it was an Elgato. I think that's exactly what it was. You know what? Because I'm going to be here for another half hour, and because that fucking drink was so good, I'm going to make another one. But I'm going to experiment, see if I can make it foamy. So. Let's get back to business to defeat the Hun. Okay, so Bourbon. So we do this shaky with the Bourbon. Yeah, looks like I'm going to use the last of this. That's okay. Just about the right amount. Bourbon. A little bit of sugar syrup. A little bit more than that. Sugar syrup. A little bit of egg white. I'm going to put a fresh ice cube in my glass just because. So see, the thing depends when you say how much ice cubes do I want to put with my cocktail. Do you mean when I shake it or in the actual glass? I'm going to put one big ass cube in the glass. Now, of course, often you shake with ice in a cocktail to chill it. But when you're doing something with egg white to make it foamy, it's actually better to do what's called a dry shake, a shake without ice, because that makes the egg white foam up more for a more pleasing drink. Oh, I don't think I sealed that properly. There we go. There we go. That affronted Mimsy a little bit. All right, shaky, 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 shaky. This is going to be an aesthetically pleasing drink, I think. Like, you shake for as long as you feel you want to shake for. There are a couple of cocktails, notably a Ramos Gin Fizz. I really jam that in there. I'm always really dubious about breaking the glass. It's a trick I need to learn how to do that. God damn it. There we go. So Lorraine, having your groceries delivered. Nice bottle of rosé. Nice. Ah, yes. Okay, got it foamy. So I'm going to chuck this ice cube out and get a fresh one. Ah. Right, fresh ice cube. Ah. Oh. Do that. This one away. Big old ice cube. Like me a big old ice cube. Now put that in there. Put that in there. All right. Alrighty. So this has gone nice and foamy, as I like it. All the foam on top. Foam in there. And see, we dribble the absinthe and the cherry through the foam. Be very visually pleasing. Little bit of absinthe. I'm gonna try. Oh yeah, that's killing the fizz. That was, yeah, okay. The absinthe was what killed the fizz. That just broke. I'm sure someone who knows. Sorry, Laura. That's perfect. My huge ass looks like two badly parked VW Beetles. That's perfect. That is so fucking good. I love it. A little bit of cherry. All right. So that's just made my night. Too badly parked VW Beetles. So look at that. That's I'm trying to see if you. Yeah, the absinthe definitely kills the fizz. Let's do it now. A little tricky I often do with whiskey sour is to put a little bit of bitters on top and just dribble some bitters onto the foam, and you get colour going through the foam, which is what I thought I could do with the absinthe. But the absinthe just had that reaction where it broke the surface tension in the foam, and the foam just went away. So it looks like the last one now. So, oh, that is a fine beverage. That's a good find. The variation on the whiskey sour, which has been christened the Taipan. I was thinking because there's a black one of these, and as I said, I don't usually use it to cocktails because it makes them go black and muddy. But I was thinking if I could use the black absinthe in this, and then we could call it a red-bellied black snake, which is a bit of a mouthful, really. So Taipan's probably a better one. Shirazi, the taste is just great. It is, look, absinthe is definitely an acquired taste. I mean, what are the other aniseed flavored ones? The Greek ouzo, Galliano, I think, is an aniseed flavor, an anise flavor. But liking, and it's like licorice. It's like quite a strong licorice flavor. So if you like black licorice, maybe this is the drink for you. Laura, your doctor told you you need to get in shape. Yes, round is a shape. Yes. I am working on losing weight, so my ass looks maybe less like 2 VW Beetles and maybe more like 2 Hyundai Excels, just a little bit small. Oh my God, what was the car with the big butt? It was a Renault, the Renault Megane had that weird bulge at the back like it was a big butt. Uh, So I'm working on losing weight. I lose a little bit more, so my ass looks less like 2 VW Beetles and maybe more like a Renault Megane. Yeah. Raiders, that's it. Sambuca. Sambuca is a licorice flavored thing. Everyone always likes my skull decanters. This was actually a bottle of Crystal Head vodka originally, which is actually a pretty good vodka. I almost never drink vodka straight. I only use it as a mixer. But Crystal Head is a really smooth vodka. And I'm actually quite okay with drinking it straight. And my other skull decanters actually I bought from $2 shops. Technically not $2 shops because I paid $4 or $5 for them. But you know the type of shop. Reject. So it wasn't literally, that's a chain in Australia called the Reject Shop. It wasn't literally them, it was another one. I actually have, how many different size skull decanters do I have? I have a really big one that came with some skull shot glasses. Then the next biggest, like the big one's probably a litre. The Crystal Head one is 700 mils. Then I've got these other ones that are over here that I got from the $2 shop. They're about 300 mils, somewhere between 300 and 400 mils. And recently, although I haven't used them, I got some even smaller ones because I thought they would be good for taking drinks to parties. Like if I was going to play barman at a party and I wanted to take a smaller amount, and I think they're probably about 100, 150 mils. And I've got some little Crystal Head bottles, decanters that I bought at duty free. God, last time I was overseas, which was years ago. And so I've still got some unopened one of those. Laura, what your advice? You've gone from 127 to 108 since September. No chocolate, good move. No, see, Pepsi Max has got no sugar in it. No ice cream. Yeah, I fail on that one. Not putting so much. Oh, number 4 is the big one. Don't put so much food in your face. And yes, replace snacks with apples. Fruit is much. I've gotten much better at not snacking. I have to admit to have not cut out ice cream altogether. I hardly ever have chocolate, but I do have some. I've been doing light and easy to control the amount I do. So I've gone, it is the bloody sugar, Laura. It's the calories. It's the calories. So I've dropped from 118 to 110 since the start of the year. So if I stay on track, and I'm quite confident of staying on track, you should really notice in about 2 months, maybe, if I stay on route. you should really be able to notice. I notice a difference just with putting on work clothes, with buttoning stuff up. So like going to the toilet but coming back by the fridge is a bad move. Yes. Oh, look, exercise is good, but exercise is a really tough way to lose weight. Exercise is just generally good for you, but it's a really tough way to lose weight. You lose way more weight by managing your calorie intake, kilojoule intake. But okay, this whole thing, and I know I've read a couple of interesting articles where some medical people are saying they think artificially sweetened drinks have a weird effect on you. I mean, but here's the thing that fascinates me. It's wild how much we don't know about our bodies and diet in weight. You can look, and the absolutely simple rule is if you burn more energy than you take in, then by definition, you lose weight. But there are a number of studies that show some really weird effects our body has, how it fools us, how your metabolism changes, how a level of activity that would burn 1,000 kilojoules in one person will only burn 500 kilojoules in another person. It's really weird. So the math is there that if you burn more energy than you take in, by definition, you lose weight. But your body can do super weird shit of actually burning less energy when you're active and storing more energy from your food. It does my head in how much we don't know about our own bodies. And accepted wisdom one day gets completely overturned another. It's super weird. But yeah, the old light and easy works for me. Average loss about 1 kilogram a week. It's the trend line that's important. Like um, if you weigh yourself every day, you get fluctuations, sometimes by a couple kilos, particularly if you weigh yourself at different times of the day and in different situations. You can get really quite big divergences in your weight. Like, I'm losing some weight, and then you weigh yourself, and the weight's apparently gone up a couple kilos, which can be very disheartening. So you have to be a bit more disciplined and measure your weight over a longer period of time. And you need to weigh yourself at a consistent time of the day when you've had a consistent, like I always do it first thing in the morning. So that's also where you get your best weight, because your body actually consumes a lot of energy while you're asleep. You know, do morning ablutions and then weigh yourself. It's the trend line that's important. If you went day by day, you could get really disheartened because you'll get all these fluctuations. But over a month or longer, you'll get a trend. So it's the trend line that's important. Like seriously, I've gone from the start of the year to now, it's 118 to 110 kilos. And the trend line is really stable. But if I weighed myself every day, the chart would be really jagged. It would be up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And those ups can really mess with your head. So the trend line is important. You need it. You need the weight measurements to be over a long enough a period that you've got a trend happening. Laura, you're not wrong. That is actually really real. Having easy to consume junk food in your fridge and cupboards is fucking deadly. Although I'm pretty impressed with my ability to every now and then my head goes, can I eat something? And look at the stuff in the cupboard and go, I could, but I don't need to. So I'm actually surprising myself with how good I am. Raiders, you raise a good point about water weight. And there's the thing, a liter of water is a kilogram. If you drink a lot during the day until you expire, like you either piss it out or you sweat it out, or you actually lose most of it in vapor when you're breathing. If you've drunk a lot, that's going to add to your weight, but it's very temporary. That's why you need to measure your weight over a long trend line, not day to day, because there are too many variations on a day-to-day basis that can really blow out your weight. And that's the trouble. Dieting can be hard. Dieting can be really hard. And if you feel like, oh, I've been denying myself everything, fuck that. It says I put on 2 kilos. Fuck that. I give up. That's a real danger. So when you're measuring weight loss, it can't be day to day. There's too much variation day to day. There are too many variables that could affect your weight. It needs to be a longer term, like a month trend line. And, you know, that's good. But I'm off to a good start that I'm happy with. And it's just stick with it, because it's like thinking, to lose the weight I want to lose is going to take 6 months at least, like another 6 months. And if sitting here today going, oh man, 6 months, that seems like a hassle. But if I do nothing and don't lose any weight, that 6 months will fucking fly by. So yeah, it's just a question. Oh, Safa, do I like fresh tomatoes? Not bad. Oh, look, I've got some videos up on my channel. Something that helped me eat better is a psychological technique called EFT, or tapping. And Mrs. Angry is a psychologist by trade. It's her job. And she was getting trained in these techniques. This tapping one is fucking amazing. Made me eat much healthier food, like tomato and carrot, like raw tomato, raw carrot, cucumber, capsicum, onion, stuff that I never would have eaten raw. Now I do. It's far better for me. Ah, Laura, your dietitian said don't eat bananas because they're too much natural sugar and you'll get a sugar crash. So now you treat your tummy like a little kid. The kid says, can I have something? No, you'll spoil your appetite. Safa, look, I won't lie. I've at least considered surgical options, because they can give you a massive jump start, whether it's liposuction or what they call the gastric band, laparoscopic band, thing that reduces the size of your stomach, so you can't eat as much. So by definition, you're going to lose weight because you can't eat as much because your stomach's now smaller. But yeah, it was just a passing thing. I don't really want to do surgery. I'm over 50. Surgery is risky, but also not losing the weight is risky. But interestingly, there are increasing studies that show being lonely and unhappy can be as big a health risk as being obese, or smoking, or abusing. Oh no, not abusing alcohol. That's pretty full on. But is why I'm eternally grateful that my home life's really good, that, I'm loved and supported. Because there's increasing evidence that being lonely and unhappy can fucking kill you. And it's like, right, okay, because life wasn't complicated enough. Yeah. But there is a fairly convincing body of evidence available now that just straight up says, yeah, being lonely and unhappy will fucking kill you. So I don't have to worry about that, which I got that going for me, which is good. Music flavor, yeah, lonely and obese is definitely not good. Shirazi, that was brilliant. Safa said UK has a minister of loneliness. Shirazi said, oh, minister of loneliness. Is that what they're calling Theresa May now? Oh, that was quick. That was sharp. Be prepared for me to fucking steal that, quite honestly. That is such a good one-liner. I may well steal that. That was very good. Laura, you came out as transgender and it's made you happier. And I reckon it probably has helped you lose weight, because weight is a really complex issue. Like I said, at the simplest level, you can say, yes, expend more energy than you consume, and by definition, you'll lose weight. But there are a huge number of variables in there. And being happy, I think, is a big one. Self-loathing is terrible. Yeah, and stress is terrible. But kudos to you on all those levels. It's just, it to me is quite weird how compelling the body of evidence is that being unhappy fucking kills you. So, whoa, okay. So, yeah. And that's why when everyone goes, oh, social justice warriors, you're saying I have to accommodate everyone. It's like, no, people accepting themselves, people being true to themselves, people being able to live their true lives and be happy is important. Vicky, this is a late appearance. How do I explain Trump's continued? Honestly, you raise a good point, Vicky. Trump is clearly fucking miserable. He's 75 and obese, and not dead. How is that? And I bring this up on semi-regular occasions. There is a reasonably high risk Trump will just drop dead. And his lunatic base will treat that as a conspiracy. They'll gloss over the fact there's a 75-year-old obese, unhappy, stressed man. Of course he fucking died. Laura, look up Chris Grayling, UK Transport Secretary. The names, oh yeah, I got foam in my mustache. The name's familiar. Well, I do want to try and do TFU Friday on Friday this week. It took me till Sunday to get a TFU video out this week. But, I've been aboard. I did a video on Tuesday and Wednesday and today with the live streams. Yeah, see how good I can be, and do a TFU Friday on Friday. And I talked to Aidsy today, who's been in the fucking wars, but he's feeling positive, and the goal is for him to come over on the weekend, probably on Sunday. So with any luck, you'll be seeing Aidsy on the weekend, either in a pre-recorded video. I think he really enjoys the live streams. I think he really enjoys the live streams and interacting with everyone. So strong chance you'll see Aidsy on the weekend, either in a pre-recorded video or a live stream, or both, who knows. And it is a long weekend here. So if we do a live stream on Sunday, maybe I can get super smashed because I don't have to go to work the next day. And see, although at the cocktails, okay, definitely shouldn't be operating heavy machinery, as the saying goes. Is it only Vic and Taz for the long weekend? Okay. But yeah, this is not me drunk. So you never know. You might see me drunk on Sunday. Who knows? Who knows? Anything could happen. But yeah, I am going to sign off for now, get a few things organized before going to Betty Buys. So I hope you find people look after yourselves, because it has, as always, been a pleasure having your company. And I do want to have your company again sometime soon. So I hope you look after yourselves. And I hope to see you again soon. And Mimsy, going to say good night? Yes, say good night to everyone, Mimsy. That's good. Thanks for dropping by. You've all been awesome as per usual. So all of you take care. Hope to see you again soon. I'll say bye for now. And I've